Good morning, everyone. This is Ankita Sharma. This side, I am the assistant manager of OT Teams Moms Believe. And with me, we have Shrutika, who is a therapist in the team, or occupational therapist. She's a senior occupational therapist, currently taking online sessions with us, both international and domestic sessions.
Yes, hello, good morning everyone. I'm Dr. Shrutika. I'm senior occupational therapist, Moms Belief, and I've been in this field from the last 7 to 8 years. So, for the today's topic, we have the OT intervention in the ADHD child. So, Ankita and me will be giving you the brief idea about the ADHD, and then we'll be taking you for the therapies and the techniques how to manage the child at home. Ankita, shall we start?
Yes, we'll start. So, actually, what is ADHD? I know you must have seen all the videos there that are there on the YouTube. Google पे सारी हमने जितनी भी definitions हैं वो हमने पढ़ी हैं. But actually, what is it? We will be defining ADHD in simple terms, बहुत ही simple way में, so that we just get to understand the term. ADHD is attention deficient. अटेंशन कम होना बच्चे में, रिड्यूस अटेंशन और इन अटेंशन एंड हाइपर एक्टिविटी डिसऑर्डर. हाइपर एक्टिविटी मीन्स increased increased physical activity in the child, because of which there is low sitting tolerance hota hai. There is low sitting tolerance in the child, there is reduced attention, there is reduced concentration, there is increased fidgety movements in the child. The educational part, the child is not able to concentrate in the education what is going in the class. So ADHD often begins in the childhood. It can persist into the adulthood also. Abhi today we'll say like ki, adults may, we can't say ki, adults have ADHD, but adults do have ADHD also. It persists from the childhood till the adulthood. And during that, the child has difficulty in the school or in the work area. The symptoms persist pattern of inattention and or the hyperactivity and increased impulsivity in the child. We know the causes, but these causes are not defined. These causes are not like yes, it is because of this only. These causes are general. Environmental causes such as low birth weight of the child, parents with smoking and alcohol during the pregnancy, genetic issues such as marriages within the family. Okay. Then understanding ADHD, we should not understand ADHD is like there is no attention, there is increased hyperactivity. ADHD is cluster of various symptoms. Okay, various symptoms, we will be discussing the symptoms with me, and we'll get to know ki not ADHD is not limited to two terms, inattention and the hyperactivity. ADHD related to many symptoms. It is a cluster of various symptoms. The most common drivers of ADHD is genetic, environmental influences, diet, and the lifestyle of the parents. Okay, specifically the lifestyle of the parents. Okay. So now we'll be discussing the finer symptoms of inattention. The child gets easily distracted. The child do miss the details in the school area or the work area. Okay. Child tends to forget things. The child doesn't tend to concentrate on what the person is saying. The child doesn't tend to remember what is being asked, or such as a task given by the teacher in the school. The child does tend to forget things. The child frequently switch from one task to the other, frequently changing of the task. The child has difficulty in maintaining the focus on one particular task. You will see ki the child will be doing one sitting activity or one writing activity. Suddenly the child will be not doing another physical activity. The child, we will see the child is jumping. The child is not sitting for at least 5 to 10 minutes for a working activity given by the teacher, or a homework, or when we are making the child to learn or understand something, he or she is not sitting in the task. It is only because there are increased number of distractions for the child. That is the reason the child becomes very easily bored with the new activities that we try to do. That is the main concern for the parents. We do make the child do the different activities, but the child is not following that. The child do for 1 or 2 days and then he gets bored. Then how to proceed it further, how to take it further, how do we make it more interesting? The parents have issue the most. The have trouble in completing or turning homework assignments. We have discussed this. The child often tend to lose things. Why? Because the child, in the first point that is written, the child tend to forget things. We will see in the school, the child will be like now he is missing some or the other things, the notebooks, the stationery things. The, appear not to be listening when spoken to. Child does daydreaming during the class. Have difficulty in processing information quickly. Okay, the child struggle to follow the instruction. Have trouble understanding the details. By details I mean ki, for example, the if the school, the teacher, it child teacher is making the child know ki this letter is supposed to be written in capitals and the following succeeding letters in small, in the lower case. The child will not follow the details. The child will only write the alphabet like that. Okay, he will not follow the details. He or she will not follow the details. So these are the various things we'll see in the symptoms, with the cluster symptoms of the inattention. Okay, these are the various pictures that will make you refer of the various things that I have told you before, such as the mistakes, such as we are making the child know things and the child seems to be ignoring or daydreaming. The child doesn't put any attention to what the mother or teacher is saying. We'll be scolding the child from the back, but the child will be like, yeah, okay, okay, fine, whatever. We'll be realizing that child will not give any attention to what we are saying. Even we are scolding him or her, even if we are making him or her understand about what is going on, what should we do, the education part, the scolding part, everything we will be seeing it, observing the child. The child is not able to know what we are saying. Will take it as like that. The child is not understanding the part, but the child does understand. The only part is there is too much going in the mind. There are too many distraction in the room or in the class. The child is not able to pay attention to one thing at a time. There are different things that the child is saying. For example, I will give you an example. In a classroom, the teacher is speaking. At the same time, something interesting is there on the table from the stationery item. At the same time, something is going in outside from the window. At the same time, some kid is playing with something, or the kid is writing with something now attractive or stationery. So there are 4 or 5 things that the child is providing attention to, instead of the one thing what teacher is saying. So it will be like that. This picture depicts the losing of the things. So these are the just picture depictions of what we discussed before. Yes. Now we'll come to the second part of ADHD, which is the main part. Okay. Hyperactivity. These are the various symptoms that comes under hyperactivity. Okay. Hyperactivity is one big term, but these are the different things that comes under hyperactivity. So what are the things, such as the child will fidget very oftenly, fidget with the pen, fidget with the pencil, fidget with the hair, fidget with the clothes, fidget with the other things that are lying around. Okay, the child may talk non-stop, just gibberish things. or something which is going in the mind continuously repeating, or we'll see to it like something the child has heard a new song on the TV or new ad song in the TV, the child will continuously repeat it. Okay, suddenly the child will stand and repeat the things that are going in the mind without any reference. The child will not touch the things without not taking the permission, just continuously touching the things here and there, playing with anything everything that comes in the vision area. The child has trouble sitting at one place. We have discussed this before. The child will not sit for at least 5 to 10 minutes continuously. Okay, this is the one big thing that we should go for the diagnosis. If you see the child is doing this, not sitting at one place for at least 5 to 10 minutes, constantly in motion, moving here and there, jumping, climbing, one or the other physical activities doing randomly without any result of it. Have difficulty performing quiet tasks or activities. Quiet tasks means such as uh, building blocks. We'll take an example of building blocks as a quiet task. The child will not do this activity for a longer period of time. Longer period of time means he will not complete the activity. If parents have said, okay, okay, let's build blocks, he will do at least five, one, two, three, not more than that, and then he will get away and do not just continue with the other activity. This is one of the sign that you should go for the diagnosis if you see early within 2 to 3 years of age in the child. The child is impatient, showing tantrums. Tantrums, we see tantrums and behavior issue, but these are the after effects of this thing. If we are not now seeing the child, we are not knowing about the diagnosis. This is actually what the problem the child is facing in the life. So we will see that the child is showing behavior issues. Behavior issues is not the primary thing. Behavior issues is the secondary thing always. Okay, it is because the parents are not able to understand the child, and child has to do something to make so that parents will answer, or parent will give him what he wants, what he requires. Okay. um, Child will show improper emotions, will not relate to the situation that is going on. Will see the child as feeling less key. The child is not able to understand the anger emotion or the love and care emotions. Okay. Have difficulty in waiting for the things, turn taking, waiting. For example, the child is going to a park and some other child is sitting on the swing. Okay, the child is not able to wait or not do so that when his turn is over and then my turn is there, or there are two kids in the front who are not there in the line for the swing. He or she will not wait for the turn. Impulsivity is there, impatience is there for his thing to happen. Often interrupt in conversation or other activities. For example, both the parents are talking or one group discussion is going on. The child will suddenly interrupt in between, will not understand ki actually, okay, this is, I should not come in between. This is not my area. I should give the space. They will not understand the concept of the space, or they will be like ki, interrupting in the conversation. These are again the pictures depicting the same things. Okay. uh, this picture depicts the parents, both parents are talking and the child is interrupting in between, not giving any space. Okay. This picture is depicting, sorry, this picture is depicting not maintaining the focus and concentration on his own work. Okay. The picture down below depicts the impulsivity, not sitting at one place, low sitting tolerance, and the parents are getting irritated about the same thing. Okay. How it impacts the daily life of the child? It Daily life, what actually includes in the daily life? First of all, we should not just understand what is the daily life of the child. It is not ki na school and home, but actually the daily life includes from the starting, such as doing brushing, doing bathing, okay, wearing his or her clothes, choosing the clothes if the child is at the appropriate age, choosing his or her clothes, telling about the needs, ki what I want in the breakfast, not this, not that. Okay. uh, just explaining or just sharing the things with the parent, explaining the feelings, the sharing things that went in the school, that went with with the friend, like that. They have struggle in these things with the school, with the social, with the home activities. Home activities mean helping out the parents in such as in the kitchen area, such as in the living room area, just maintaining the bed, making the bed, these kind of things. They are not able to go along with it. Academic underachievement, this is the secondary thing. Academic underachievement, it only happens when the child is not diagnosed early. Okay, the child should be diagnosed within the 2 to 3 years of age, and then only with the further therapies, various therapies that child requires, we will be able to manage the academic area of the child. But the child do understand that he is not performing well in the school. These type of understandings by for themselves, they are there, but they are not able to describe that or just make the other person understand the same thing. Okay. Problem with interpersonal relationship with the family members and peers, we have discussed this. They have low self-esteem. Self-esteem means self-esteem, we all know ki underconfidence is there. If some peer group or some friend has pointed out something or bullied them about something, they will not take it. Okay. What are comorbidities? Comorbidities are with the other disorders, with the other things. ADHD do exist. The primary thing is ASD, autism spectrum disorder. ADHD do exist with autism spectrum disorder, but ADASD, autism spectrum disorder, is always the primary one to affect the child, not the secondary one. Okay, because with the sensory areas to be developed, after the sensory integration is done in the body, then only we'll see the hyperactivity, the attention, the cognitive areas being disrupted by ADHD. Okay, so these are the comorbidities which, along with ADHD, they do exist. Okay, they do exist with the other diagnosis also. Mood dysregulation disorder, specific learning disorders, LDs, and anxiety disorder. Anxiety disorder we do see in the adults also, but they start on from the early life. Okay. Tic disorder. Tic disorder is of different types. They only happen when the child has anxiety related to something. Okay. Now, Shrutika will take over further. She will make us know about the occupational therapy intervention in ADHD and various other assessments that are required for ADHD.
Yes, thank you, Ankita. So, as Ankita explained you all the symptoms and the comorbidities of the ADHD, I want to mention one thing, that when you go to the pediatrician, the first thing he does is the taking the history of the child. Okay, if the child shows the symptoms, if it is 6 months or more than that, then the pediatrician will come to the final conclusion that the child might have the ADHD. Okay. They do the various assessment scales also, and after the scale assessment, after the having the particular score, that if the child has the ADHD or not, they refer to the occupational therapy. Now, currently due to the pandemic and all, we are doing the online assessments. So online assessment includes our assessment scales, which we again do. There are many scales for the occupational therapy. Yes, I think Nirmala ji has raised a question about what assessment we use. Yes, so we have the Vanderbilt assessment scales. We have various assessment scales for the ADHD child. Okay, so we do it with the parent, one to one with the parent. We also do it with the one to one with the child. With the child, it depends on the age again. If the child is 11 years or the 10 years old, if the child is able to understand his or her own things, then we do the one to one child assessment as well. Okay, once we get the particular score of it, then we do the assessment of the child. So we are on the in the online system, we ask the child to perform the various activities. We give them instructions. We try to see if the child is following the commands well, if the child has shows the signs of the impulsivity on the screen, if the child shows the symptoms of the hyperactivity on the screen or not. Ankita, please. Next. Are you able to change the slide?
Yes, yes, I'm trying. It is taking some time. I don't know why. Okay.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, it goes further. I want to say parents will take this questions in the last. Just we have your questions in the chat box. Keep the questions in the chat box, and we'll take it later on after the this presentation is over. Shrutika, I'm
Shall I?
trying. Yes, you can present. I'm trying, but it is not going further.
Is it visible?
Yes, yes.
Yes. Now, as we have seen the assessment part, now once we get to know the child has the symptoms of the ADHD or the ADD only, then we plan the individual education program for the child. So, which includes the developing the self-regulation skill, because ultimately the goal is the child should understand how to regulate himself. Then the second is sensory integration and organization and the planning, fine and gross motor skills, independence in everyday tasks. Why organization and the planning is important? Because as Ankita explained you, the daily living of the child, it requires going to the school, and even from the starting from the day that the child needs to do the brushing, child needs to go for the bathing and doing the his own things. So it all requires the organization and the planning. Sometimes if the child is forgetting anything, that then the organization and the planning intervention is important. Fine and gross motor skills, why it is important? Because due to the hyperactivity and due to the impulsiveness, many of the time the child lacks the fine motor skills. Child is not able to pick up the beats, child is not able to do the handwriting well. So maybe the ADHD could be the cause that leads to the fine motor and the gross motor skill affectation. Now, what is the sensory integration? So, the sensory integration is basically, I would explain you in a simple terms. When the child is in the womb or when the child is in the uterus, as the mother moves, the mother goes from one direction to the other. The child also moves with the mother. Okay, the child has the boundaries from the uterus. Okay, so which gives the proprioceptive input to the child. When the mother moves, this gives the vestibular input to the child. When the child is putting his hand or the legs on the uterus, it gives the tactile stimulation. Now, what is the proprioception? Proprioception is the joint position. If I am sitting or if I am standing, so it the child gets the idea how my joints are. What is vestibular? In which direction I am moving. And what is tactile? Tactile is the touch. If somebody is touching me or something is or I'm getting a painful stimulus, I am understanding with the tactile stimulation. These are the three important sensory sensations which need to develop. Now, as Ankita told you that there are some causes of the ADHD, one of which was very low birth weight. Very low birth weight comes with a prematurity also. Sometimes, if the child is not delivered at the age of at the month of the 9 months, if the child is delivered for the 6 or the 7 months, then these development of the sensations, the proprioceptum, vestibular, and the tactile gets affected, and then gradually we see the symptoms of the ADHD. So it is very necessary that we first should focus on the proprioception, vestibular, and the tactile input of the child. And then if these three are improved, if these three gets developed, then automatically the attention, auditory, smell, and the vision improves with the child. Okay. The sensory diet, you might have very often you have heard this term sensory diet, that we need to give the sensory diet to the child. But what is sensory diet? The sensory diet is basically based on the concept of the sensory integration. Okay. So it is a schedule of the activities which keeps the child's nervous system calm and alert. Sometimes you might see in the daytime the child is very under aroused. He doesn't like to do any movement. He is sitting calmly. But in the evening times you might observe the child is over aroused, and you might be thinking that what should I do, how should I give the activities. So it is a simple basic funda that you have to use, that if the child is over aroused, that is if say for the evening time, you should use the calming activities. If the child is under aroused, you should use the alerting activities for the child. Also, environmental modification is also required to regulate the stimulation. Sometimes if there are the bright lights which over arouse the child, or the by looking at which the child gets very hyperactive, then we need to do the environmental modification accordingly. As the child becomes older, they learn to read their own arousal level and the self regulation stimulation, right? So this sensory integration and the sensory diet, how long you should give it till the child comes to the adolescence age, because after the adolescence age, once the child comes into the adolescent age, the child understand their own self-regulating system. If they are feeling hyperactive, if they are feeling anxious, if they are feeling inattentive, what they should do, they understand on their own. As I told you in the previous slide, that if the child is over aroused, you should use the calming activities. If the child is under aroused, you should use the alerting activities. Now let's see what are the calming activities for the child. You can use the deep pressure massage to the child. Now the deep pressure massage, you can give deep pressure massage will include hugging to the child, or you can also give the stimulation with the pillows or with the therapy ball. You can just make lie down the child and give him the stimulation over his body. Make the rolling of the make the therapy ball roll on the over the child. It gives a lot of deep pressure to the child. Then sitting on the bean bags or the large body pillow. Sometimes you might observe that child is doing the activity, but continuously he's moving, continuously fidgeting with the feet, with the hands. So this time, what you have to do, you can make the child sit on the bean bags, because bean bags gives a lot of body pressure, lot of proprioception to the child. You can also play a games like a sandwich with the pillows. You can make the child lie down. You can do it the sandwich activity over the child with the pillows. So it also gives the deep pressure to the child, and it is also in the fun play with the child. Then you can there are also weighted vest available in the market, so you can make the child wear the weighted vest. Also the beer hugs you can give, or the lotion rubs. Ask the child to put the lotion on your body. Ask the child to put the lotion, and you can also put a lotion on over the body. So it gives the deep pressure to the child. You can also play a soft music or the slow music. You can do the joint compression. Now the joint compression is something I would explain you. Suppose this is our wrist joint. You can place your hand over here, you can place your other hand over here, and you can just put the joint compression and just release it for the 5 seconds. After again 5 seconds, you keep it the joint compression and you release it. This is the way of the joint compression you can do. You can give him the stretching activities also. Stretching activities, so for say hand stretching, leg stretching, so it keeps the child alert also. Then there are a lot of chewing gums or the fidgeting toys. If you see the child is fidgeting a lot with the hands, you can just give him the fidgeting toys. So it is a purposeful movement he is doing, and also he is engaging into it. Also he likes to do it because his brain is keeping the sensations or the sensations normal. Then the next is these are some pictures which says that as I told you, you have to give the stretching exercises, you have to give the exercises to the child. So this is the exercises. In the daily life, you can ask the child to carry any object. Okay, if you want help of the child, ask him to carry the chair, ask him to carry any books, heavy books, so it automatically gives the calming sensation to the child. If you have the crashing pad, or if you have the bed at home, so onto which you can make the child crash, so that it gives a lot of deep pressure to the child. Wrestling with the child, like you can give the bear hug to the child and just rolling over each other, this way also you can play with the child. Climbing on that, climbing also gives a lot of good proprioceptive input to the child. Then pushing, pulling, you can give the simple activity to the child, ask him to push the chair, the weighted chair, and ask him to pull the chair. This includes lot of energy of the child and gives the lot of proprioception. Now vestibular tools, what you can use the trampoline, you can use the slides at home, rocking, swinging is also recommended, and also you can give the spinning or the bouncing. Now, as I told you about the proprioceptive input, there are some deep pressure activities to be given. Like in the earlier also, I told you the hand massage or the brushing you can give to the child, lotion rubbing. Also, rubbing with a different texture works well with the child. Sometimes the child is so hyperactive that we even after giving a lot of animal walks, or even after giving a lot of physical activity, the child doesn't sit at one place. So at that time you can just give some different texture, and just rub or give the tactile stimulation over the body. The child automatically calms down. Even during giving any academic activity to the child, or even if you are giving any painting activity to the child, on the one hand you keep giving the stimulation with a different texture, automatically the child will sit at one place. Then you can give the water play and the finger painting. Why water play? Because water has a tendency to calm down the child, or it also calm down to us also. So it has a really good tendency. So if the child is very hyperactive, you can just give him a bath, you can just give him water play in the tub, so it makes the child very calm. Also you can make the child play in the rice or the sand, because it gives a lot of sensory input to the child, sensory textures the child gets. The child automatically becomes very calm down. Now you can ask the child to snuggle in the blankets or the pillows also. If the child is whenever the child is sleeping, or whenever the child is before any starting any activity, you can make the child snuggle into the blanket. That also gives a lot of deep pressure to the child. Now, as I told you, these techniques, uh, when the child is very active, you have to use the calming strategies, and when the child is very under aroused, you can use the alerting activities. But there are some rules. As a parent, you always have the questions that for how long I have to give this, how to schedule the routine for the child, that my child is in a day, my child is very hyperactive, how to do it. So there are some general rules. See, for every 90 minutes you can give him the deep pressure activities, and let me tell you, the effects of the deep pressure last for up to the 2 hours. So if you want the child to sit at one place, initially give him some proprioceptive or the heavy activities, so that after that effect, he sits at one place, he tries to do the activity with you. Okay, if you are trying to give him the activity directly, or fine motor activity, or say sitting activity directly, without giving any proprioceptive input to the child, or without giving uh, any heavy joint activity to the child won't sit at one place, because the sensations needs to be settled down, sensations needs to be calmed down. Then you can also give the stimulation. Vestibular stimulation stays for the 24 hours. What is the vestibular stimulation? You can use the swing. If you have the swing, give him the back to front, side to side, give him spinning swing. So this way the child becomes very calm, and it lasts for the 24 hours. So it is really effective. Also sometimes it happens that even after giving a lot of activities and all, the child uh, doesn't sit at one place, right? So always you can try the deep pressure and the proprioception or the vestibular input together. So for say, if you have the blanket at home, if you have any thick material at home, just make the child roll into it, rolling with the child. it automatically gives the vestibular input because child is rolling, and automatically gives the child the pressure to the body as well. So it is like a proprioception and a vestibular, you are combining both. Okay. Sometimes if you don't understand what is to be given, always use the proprioception activity for the child. What do you mean by the proprioceptive activity? The heavy joint activities which I told you. Animal walks, give him a lot of animal walks, wheelbarrow walking, giving pushing and the pulling the chair, give him bouncing on the therapy ball or the gym ball, give him bouncing on the trampoline. This is the way the child gets calm, gets alert, and gets organized. Now, after giving all the stimulation, there are certain rules to improve the attention of the child. Okay. As a parent, we have a lot of expectations from the child. That child should sit at one place for say half an hour, for say 1 hour. At least he should sit. No, this is not the scenario. The child is not going to sit at one place if you expect this. You have to keep your expectation realistic. That even if the child sits for the 10 minutes with you, make sure the child does the activity well. Okay. Sometimes the child has a good sitting tolerance. Many parents tells us that the child sits at one place for a very long time, 2 hours also. Even if I am taking the session with him or taking any academic activity, he sits, but he doesn't pay attention to it because he doesn't have that. His brain doesn't pay attention to it. So what you should do at this time, after you keep the, as I told you, you keep the goals realistic. So give him some activity which is of the short duration, 5 to 10 minutes of the duration. Give him again some movement activity. Ask him to roam around. Ask him to jump on the trampoline. Ask him to jump bounce on the bouncing ball. Give him some time period. Tell him that I'll count till 30 seconds and you have to come back to the activity. This way the brain will also settle down, and again the brain will more fresh and attend the academic activities well. Okay. Then give one step clear instructions what is to be done. If you use lot of words with the child doesn't like it. Also, when the child is doing, suppose child is doing the painting activity, we as a parent have uh, a lot of habits of always correcting them. No, 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 do it this way. No, 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 go this way. No, do it this way. No, this irritates the child. Even if we are doing any activity and somebody if keeps telling us, giving instructions for 10 times, we get irritated with it, right? So keep your instructions clear so that the child won't get irritated and the child will complete the activity on his own. Then give the break times to the child. Okay. Then you can play any games in between with the child, card games or anything, memory games. So even if you are teaching ABCD to the child or if you are teaching any academic activity, some play has to be there. So just to refresh his mind. Okay. Now, setting a timer for the session or for the activities. If you are giving the beads activity or bean sorting activity to the child, many a times child doesn't pay attention. Why? You keep the bunch of the bowl in front of the child and ask him to do it. No, the child will get irritated because the amount of the beans is so much that child will never like to do it. If you keep the particular amount for say five beans or 10 beans, then child definitely will do that because child knows that after 5 beans I'll be finishing this task. So this way you have to keep the activities. Now sometimes child, as I told you, the child moves here and there, doing the something, fidgeting with the hands and looking here, looking there. So that time what you should do, you can use the bouncing ball as a tool for sitting. We we give the chair. So on the chair you can keep some pillow which is bouncing pillow. Automatically the child gets the sensation, automatically the brain gets the sensation, and the child keeps the keeps the attention on the activity. Sometimes the child is fidgeting with the feet. What you should do, you can put something bouncing object below his feet. Let him bounce, let him concentrate on the activity. These techniques will definitely work out with the child. Sometimes the child likes to do the spinning activity. So you can use a rotational chair or the office chair if you have at home. So you can give the spinning also at the same time. You can give the academic activity. And then in Incorporate hands-on learning activities. Hands-on learning activities means that if you give any activity to the child, if the child doesn't know how to do it, the child will not get the child will not incorporate, or the will not try to do the activity. So at that time uh, you need to guide the child's hand how to sort it, how to do it. Even if you are giving a writing activity, give him hand to hand instructions so that he will do it, so that he'll have the idea, he will get the idea how to do this activity. Use student interest in lessons. If you give any activity which is not of his interest, he's definitely is not going to pay attention to it. So you can use the reinforcement also into it. If the child wants to do, if you want to make the child learn any activities, use the reinforcement for the child. This works well with the child. Then use a visuals as a reminders and a supporters. Before starting any activity, always make sure that child knows what is to be done today. If you are expecting the child to be he should perform well in the daytime, like from the beginning of the day till the end of the day. Provide a visual stimulus to the child, what he needs to do, at what time the activity is to be done. If the brushing has to be done at 9 o'clock, then put a visual reminder in that way. If the breakfast has to be done at 11, put a reminder for the child, so that child will also remember how my schedule should be. Then you can also use for the homework purpose. You can also use these visual reminders. Sometimes, as Ankita said, you see the child, he forgetfulness or he loses the things very often. So you can use the visual reminders for the child. Give him some chart, so onto it he will tick mark if he has taken that particular object or not. Even in the school system, you can use this. Before leaving the school, if he checks that schedule, then his memory also improves well. You can play a lot of memory games with a child, which is available, I think, so which shapes making or the shapes recollecting, uh, all these sheets or the worksheets are also available. And we moms believe at moms believe also we share a lot of worksheets for the child, so that to improve his attention and the memory of the child. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think these are the strategies and the techniques which I've shared with you will work well with a child. Now, Ankita, if you want to take it further,
Yes. Can you present the screen for the further slides?
yeah, sure. Yeah. Can I explain this, Ankita?
What?
Yeah.
Screen?
Yeah.
Oh,
Is it visible, the pyramid of learning?
no, it's not.
It's not.
No,
Just
no, it's not this.
now.
Yes, yes, it's visible.
Okay. So this is a simple phenomenon, which is pyramid of the learning. Uh, why we need to give the proprioceptive activities and the vestibular activities. So this is the simple picture depiction of it. If we give the good amount of the tactile, vestibular, and the proprioception sensations to the child, automatically it leads to the academic learning of the child. So we need to give this to the child first. As I told you, the heavy activities, heavy joint activities, deep pressure to the child, swinging on the swing, tactile stimulation with the different textures. All these things needs to be given so that the mind or the brain will calm down, will try to attend, and then gradually the visual attention, the auditory attention improves, and then it leads the academic learning in the child.
Okay.
Yeah. So, Ankita, can you just take it forward for the common
Yes,
question?
yes. We can't see the screen. Nirmala ji is saying we can't see the screen.
Oh, okay.
I'm able to see. I was able to see.
Can you share your screen, Ankita, again?
Actually, mine is just obstructing in between. It's getting hang. Parents, we are really sorry for the delay. It is taking technical issues. We can't do anything in this. Shrutika, please, you go with further with your screen sharing, and I'll share. I'll speak on that only. Now, fine. She's saying now fine.
Yes.
Just present slideshow. Go a little back.
Is it visible?
Nirmala ji,
Nirmala
is
ji?
it visible? Okay, she's giving a thumbs
Yeah.
up.
So
Can
I
you go a
hope,
little back?
yeah. I hope Nirmala ji, you have you understood this concept, the pyramid of the learning.
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
fine. Yeah.
Okay. So parents, the last we will be discussing about the common questions as a parents we have regarding the ADHD in the child. Okay. We're discussing three basic questions, very popular questions. I just want to discuss or give a brief overview regarding the same. Next slide, Shrutika. The main question that I go through is while taking the session, while taking counseling session with the parent is ki parents oftenly ask ki are medications required or are they necessary to take it? ठीक है the main the thing is कि first we should know why the medication or how the medications are important. ठीक है what is the concept behind the medications and उससे पहले just before that we should know why ADHD is happening in the medical perspective in the physiological perspective why ADHD is happening actually what is happening inside our brain in the child's brain कि the ADHD symptoms are being seen physically. Okay, we have a neuron. In neuron, we have a synapse. Just basic thing, not going too medical in this. We have a synapse. And through that synapse, two synapses have a neurotransmitter transference. Okay, this is a two synapses. Okay, there is a transfer of neurotransmitter. Okay, but in the ADHD child, that doesn't happen fully. Okay, that transfer, that sucking motion is not done fully with the in between the two synapses. In the normal synapse, what happens is the transmitter neurotransmitter is thrown and the other one catches it. Okay, throw and catch. ये होता है throw and catch. But in ADHD, what happens is it is not done fully. Okay, and what medications do is in this thing is they help in the proper transferent complete transference of the neurotransmitter, but it is not scientifically seen this helps in each and every child. It is like always be it is be like if it is benefiting after medications are prescribed by the doctors and the child is getting benefited with that, the hyperactivity has reduced, the sitting tolerance has increased, the attention in the class with the things we are educating with the child has increased. He is giving proper eye contact, proper attention to us. What if we are calling him, if we are making him say something, so he's giving us attention, then you can go ahead. But if you're seeing some side effects, it is your call how you want to take it further. But I am no one to tell you ki yes you should go further with it. But as a parent you should be educated about ki why medications and how the medications work,
Yeah.
why and
One
how
more
you
thing
should know
I
about
also
why and how.
Yeah, one more thing I also want to add into it. Um, as Ankita said, there are the neurotransmitters and there are the neurons which the connection has to happen. There is a particular neurons or particular neurotransmitter or the chemicals in the brain which leads to the good attention and the activity in the child. Or even if sometimes we so tend to lack the attention also. So there is some neurotransmitter which is called as the dopamine and norepinephrine, so which is lacking. It is on with the research. It has been said that it is lacking in the child, or it is in the minimal amount of in the brain of the ADHD child. So how does this medications improve? It improves the dopamine level. It improves the norepinephrine in the child, so that the brain automatically gets to settle down. Also, when you give the medications and the therapy together, it gives you the good effect. Why?
We'll
As I
discuss
told
about it. We'll discuss about it.
yeah, yeah. Why? Because as I told you, the therapy, the deep pressure and all, the deep pressure works well with the child because it gives the serotonin level high to the child. But the brain gives the serotonin level good, so the brain becomes calm down. So that is why sometimes the therapy also works well.
Okay, we can go further with the next question. Okay. How do therapy help? As Shrutika has put the light on this thing, both medications and therapy will help together. But it is always the parent's choice and the parent's call if they want to go further with the medications or not. But how will the therapy help? How is the thing that we need to know? How? Kaise the therapy will help? The treatment can help your child with ADHD in school and social situations and at home. Treatment means both the things included, not only the therapy. Okay. Uh, the right plan can help the child with all the three major concerns in the ADHD. Right plan means the sensory diet that Shrutika has told us about, the various physical activities that she has discussed with us, the various durations, the various technicalities, how to do it, when to do it. These all things matter, and then only we can plan. And all the three major areas, such that inattention, impulsivity, hyperactivity control, will be under our control and the child's control also. Because what we usually see is the na child is doing it, how to control it. But major thing with the therapy is that we are making the child to let him know ki how to control himself, how to control his body needs. The goal of treatment is to help your child follow the rules. Okay, first, that Shrutika has already discussed about this, the rules, the routine. It helps the child to follow the rules, concentrate in various situations, and have good relationship with the parent, teachers, and peers. Good relationship only comes when the child is able to pay attention to what you are saying, to what you are making his or her understand. These treatments options have been evaluated for safety, but no two children are alike. I'm just saying it again. No two children's, no two ADHD diagnosed children are alike. And what works for some kids may not work for well as yours. We, as a parents, what we do is ki, the parent who are coming at the same time with the therapy, or we consult the other parents who have children with the same diagnosis. We ask them ki, what you are doing, how your therapies are going on, what you do for the except OT or speech, what further things you are taking up for the child for the betterment. So we try to follow the same thing, but we see that there are no results. The other child is giving the results with for the certain therapy, but for the certain exercise, but my child is not doing it. How is it so? It is always like one child will show will have interest in certain activity, one child will like the calming activities, one child will like doing the physical activities. These are two different things. Calming activity, child is supposed to be at one place, the other person, the second person will do the stuff on the child. But on the other hand, there are vestibular activities, okay, physical activities. These two things are different. One child will show interest in this the calming activities, and one child will show interest and feel good after doing some physical activity. Okay, so that is why we are we as a therapist, OT therapist, as a psychologist, we always counsel the parents on things. We always counsel the parents on like you should try this. If you're not seeing results in this, you should try this. or you should try this. Trying is why we are saying trying, because the child, it will be like a child may show result in that. If the child is not showing result in this, you should always get to know ki at where you are providing the energy, where you are providing the not the interest of the, where the interest of the child lies. Okay. Life of ADHD child. The other thing the parents ask me ki na in the further after school, or what, how will the further life will be for the child. It is always like ki I first tell them ki, or in the counseling sessions, get your child diagnosed as soon as possible. If you're seeing, we have discussed about the symptoms, okay, get your child diagnosed with a pediatrician, as Shrutika has told us, then go to a psychologist or a OT therapist. They will do some assessments on the child. They will make you know, make you educate ki where is the area where is the child lacking and where we need to work on. Okay, start the early intervention therapies as soon as possible. Okay, don't wait ki na okay my na elderly people are saying ki sab bachon mein hota hai, every child goes through this stage, every child is naughty, don't go for further therapies, na he will get better, just give him some time. Sometimes it is true, but not every time. And if you will give time to a particular ADHD child who is not diagnosed, but you are seeing the certain symptoms, then it will be too late. And then you will see you won't be able to control the child further. Okay. So that is why the early intervention, the early therapies, OT therapies, various behavior therapies, that is why there are so many, so much importance are given to it by the doctors. Parents should get themselves educated about the diagnosis. This is the most important point after the child is being diagnosed. Why it is important? If as a parent you will not know ki what is ADHD, now what differences it is making in the body of my child, what physically now the obstructions I will face in the child's life, now how to take it further. If you will not get yourself educated about the certain thing, it will just hamper the child's life more. And if you will get yourself educated, I'm saying the positive perspective, if you will get yourself educated, you will be able to know the child more. The more you know, the more it gets better, the more you can help the child better, the more you can make the child's life better, the quality of life better. Okay, get yourself more and more educated, but not via Google. Okay, because it will show a vast majority of different negative things. Okay, it will never show the positive aspects of ADHD, it will show the negative part. But always try attending some webinars regarding the same diagnosis. Okay, they will provide you the better references, the better education, the better uh, the knowledge about the diagnosis. Okay, give positive respect to the child. Positive respect means if the child is not, now he's not going further as per you're instructing the child. Okay, I'm saying ki for example the child name is Dhruv, I'm saying Dhruv, don't do that, don't touch my glass crockery, and the child is going touching the glass crockery and he has smashed it on the floor, and then you're getting irritated, you're hitting the child regarding the same thing, same, because you are saying ki, you are not able to you are not just haunting the child about ki why you're not able to understand my instructions, why you're not following me, why always why questions are there in front of the child, and the child is not able to understand him or herself ki why am I doing it, why it is happening from my side, why I like to do it. ठीक है. Positive respect means ki okay, that it has been done, what has been done. Okay, now I need to make the child understand about the same thing, understand. If the child is not understanding, just give him positive feedback, don't hit the child, don't push the child to do something. Always be like if you can't do it, it's okay, it's fine, we'll do a lesser simpler version of the exercise. For example, we are asking the child to do beer walk. Okay, and the child is not able to understand the concept, we need to put our hands down on the floor and knee should not be touching. Okay, how what we do, or to just make the child give the positive respect, by mean I mean ki give now physical assistance to the child. Make the child do it by yourself instead of not making the child know ki copy this, copy that. The children with ADHD need consistent rules that they can understand and follow. Make the rules of behavior for the family. It should be rules for should be for all of the family members, not for the particular child. If the child will see कि ना मेरे साथ ही partiality हो रहा है, only I am supposed to follow the rules and my parents, my siblings are not supposed to follow it, he will take a back seat. कि, okay, let it be. And they should be fairly simple and clear. Regular physical exercise. Why regular physical exercise? The I know the time limit has exceeded, but this is the most important point. Regular physical exercise. Shrutika has told us about the various hormones, okay, various neurotransmitters, such as dopamine, okay. And when the child does the physical exercise, it has been shown in the researches, the medications do provide the same neurotransmitters. And if the child do a regular exercise for at least 15 or 20 minutes a day, once in a day, the child will show the same production of same neurotransmitters. But what we lag is as a lazy being lazy with the physical therapies, making the child follow the physical exercises. Just all the parents who are there with us right now, make just proper routine for the physical exercise, and just follow it, be anyhow, just follow the physical exercises that needs to be in. This is where the occupational therapist role comes in, and they will not just give you strategies how to do it, give different type of interesting activities they will give you. The last thing is provide a creative outlet. Creative outlet means every child is made to do something or the other, excel in something or the other, and we should always make them try something new creative things, so that they can relate themselves to that creative part, other than just following the instruction that therapist is giving, the parent is giving, the school teacher is giving. They should not relate themselves to something, and that is a creative outlet. It can be anything: music, art, any physical activity, any craft activity, anything. It can be related to anything. Cooking, it can be. Okay. Next slide, Shrutika.
Yeah, one thing I want to add, as Ankita, you told, if the child is running here and there, and we say, don't run, or don't throw objects, anything. Rather than using a don't word with the child, try using something positive words with the child always. If you tell the child, walk with me, instead of using the word don't run, it works well with the child. The child gets the positive reinforcement with it. Positive.
Yes.
Then the second thing, again, Ankita told us that sometimes, as a parent, we lose our patience. We just get irritated with the child. We just hit sometimes. The one thing I would like to tell the parents that try calming strategies for yourself as well. Do some deep breathing exercises. When the child does the mistakes, keep yourself calm, because every action has the reaction. If you hit the child will show you the negative response towards you. Then you will say the child is hitting me back. No, keep yourself calm. Do some deep breathing exercise regularly, so that you will be able to handle your child very well.
Yes. Because the child doesn't know now what he's doing. He's
Right.
only following what the body is making him do, what the brain is making him do. The last quote, I just want the parents to read the last quote. You can't change who you are, and you shouldn't be asked to. Don't change the child how they are. They should be like how they can improve themselves further, how they can improve the quality of life further. Okay, now we'll take the questions.
If you have any question, you can simply raise your hand.
We have answered what Nirmala ji asked, what assessment you will use and how accurate the online assessments will be. Shrutika, you want to answer?
Sorry, can you repeat?
Nirmala ji asked in the chat box, what assessment you will use and how accurate the online assessments will be.
Okay. So the assessment, as I told you, we have the in detail assessment for the child. We do the Vanderbilt. There are many corners rating scales for which we get to know that at what score the child is, what the score of the ADHD. Okay. How accurate the online assessment is, I would say that the assessment form we already have. We are seeing the child as we are seeing the child face to face. We are seeing the child on the online system. We are doing the one to one interaction with the parent, and we are doing the one to one interaction with the child. So as we are all are the experienced therapist, we get to know the child is at what level. We also do the all ADL activities assessment, like how much the child is independent in his ADL. We ask parents that if the child is doing the bathing activity on his own, if the child is doing the dressing activity on his own, and we ask the parents to rate accordingly. If suppose it is out of 10, out of 10 how much would you rate? If he is taking your help 50% your help, then it would be 5. If he is taking he is doing it maximally on his own, then it would be 9 or a 10. Or if he is taking your help completely, then it would be 1. So the scoring is not going to change. And ultimately when we see the child online system, we have the idea how the child is doing or the child is performing the activities.
No, in case if you have not seen this child at all, you are seeing the child first time online.
Yeah.
How successful it is, that's what I am asking.
Yeah.
See, if you have seen the child before, that's fine. But if you are not seeing the child at all and you are seeing online only at that time, how effective it will be?
We always do the assessment first before starting the sessions. We always do
Okay.
the assessment so that during the sessions we have the idea that the child is this. And always even in the face to face sessions also, after 2 to 3 sessions we get a more idea about the child, how the child is. Of course in the first session it becomes difficult to have the idea about the whole idea about the child. That is why we do the one to one interaction with the parents also, how the child is at home, how the child is at during the sessions, so we get to understand.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. The next question was again from Nirmala ji. Ki, can we use the exercises in the brain gym? The exercises that we discussed. Yes, Nirmala ji, we can. The exercises such as cross crawl activity that we do in the brain gym, cross crawl sit ups, if the child can do and follow the instructions, the various stretches we can involve while before doing these simple activities. The rocker activity that we do in the brain gym, you can do simple. These all stretches that Shrutika has discussed, we can include while during the morning brain gym activities.
Yes, you can also give him the lazy eight or the infinity shape to follow. Yes, you can give him the right and left, this crossing the sides activities. These all the brain gym activity and works well with the child.
Someone has asked, any chance I can watch this session later? I don't know. We need to ask from our team. Team, can we provide the recorded session to the parents, or can it be available?
YouTube after a week, so you can watch it on YouTube.
Sure. Thank you. No more questions. No more further questions in the chat box. Okay. Thank you, parents. Thank you for being with us. I hope you like the presentation. We wanted it to be more informative rather than to be like okay, copy and paste things. So we always, me and Shrutika, we always say things based on our experience. We are taking sessions online, so we are doing more interaction with the parents and observing the child more during the online sessions. So this is how we not share our experiences with you.
Yes, thank you
So,
to all the parents for being so patient and attending this session. The main idea behind this that we wanted to make the parents the co-therapist of the child. As at Moms Believe, we always try to make the parents co-therapist of the child. Due to this pandemic, it is very necessary. So I hope all the techniques and all the information was informative, was helpful for you. Okay.
yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Signing off.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.